All right, we're going live. My name is Don Ficken. I'm with the Library Telescope Program, and it's really exciting to see us once again. This is our number 50th, believe it or not, number 50th webinar that we've hosted since we've been involved with the library, since I've been involved with the Library Telescope Program. I was just talking with my guests here, and we've been doing everything you could think of, everything from how to modify the telescope to how to find things in the sky, International Observe the Moon Night. So we have a fun topic tonight. It's really about the constellations, the Summer Triangle, the Southern Zodiac, and the Milky Way, just things that are up in the sky. These are all things you can see from a little bit of a darkness. You need, Summer Triangles, pretty straightforward. They're pretty bright stars, as our guest Rocky will talk about. But the Milky Way is a little tougher. You have to get a little bit darker skies to do that. So before we get into our presenter, Rocky, Togny from the Central Arkansas Astronomical Society, let me just talk to you about the Library Telescope Program, if you're not familiar with it. It's been around since 2008. We are well over 1,100 locations in actually 9 countries, I think now. You can see that on our website, we have a world map. This is a little bit of a snapshot of that. And you can go onto our website under the map, and you can look at your country, like the USA, and drill down to the state. And then we have listed the known library locations. There could be more than we know about. Not everybody has told us about this, that they've been involved with this. It's been very much a grassroots effort, so we have to sometimes find these folks. But anyway, it's a really good program. I encourage you to check out our website. A big thing that we started last year is that we have grassrootsed it for long enough. We decided to make ourselves our own 501c3. In other words, we're now a nonprofit legal entity. And so we've got lots of plans about how to take this whole next thing to the next level, including making everything from how-to videos and building an ambassador network of trained, certified supporters and grant programs for libraries to join it, and things like themed events so that your library can do more than just get a telescope. They can tie into International Observe the Moon Night, Astronomy Day, or maybe some big event going on in the sky. Check out our websites. It's got lots of resources, how to. We have an amazing marketing person working on our Facebook. She's got us almost to 7,000 followers. I think she just needed a couple, so go out if you're not on Facebook and follow us. Make sure you follow us tonight, and also make sure you sign up for our email alerts. We're just getting started with that, but we'll have newsletters coming up in the future. So there are a lot of places that you can get telescopes for libraries. We don't say that one is better than the other, but we have worked with a new company called High Point Scientific. They are actually building a new custom telescope that'll be coming out later this year. In the interim, they have taken some existing Zummels, which is a brand that's being phased out, and they've modified those so that if you're a library, you can buy one of these things kind of ready to go. And it's a very reasonable price. I suggest I think they're getting low in stock though, so if you want one, you probably need to get it. And of course, when the new ones come out, it'll be really exciting to see what we've really got. They are going to be fabulous telescopes. I've seen prototypes of it, and it's very exciting. So one of the things that we have on our website, which is very cool, is you can go to the front page of the website, and through one of our collaborators at the Astronomical League, which is a group that has astronomy clubs throughout the country, USA, they put together some monthly navigating night sky maps. And so we have here one that's for May. There's also a Spanish version, and then they usually have a couple cool events. Just check out the front page of our librarytelescope.org website. We've got May out there, and I just posted the June coming up. So they're kind of fun. It's really, they're nice and simple in the sense that you can find stuff in the sky. They're not overly complicated, and they'll give you the big stuff to really look at. So here's an example of some of our past webinars. You can see there's just a lot of different webinars over time. These are actually on YouTube, but we've linked them to our front page so that you can get to them really easily. And you can see there's really everything that you can think of, from astronomer questions to lunar eclipses and stuff. And speaking of that, just for fun, I'm throwing this in. I had this 2 months ago when we had a lunar eclipse. I put my iPhone up to my library telescope and took this picture of it, which shows you the capability of that. What seems to be a toy, but it's really not. It's a 4.5-inch reflector telescope, and it's pretty powerful. And so we had some fun with that. So it is very powerful. I encourage you to check out your library to see if they have it. And if they don't, have them contact us, okay? And this is also a reminder just to make sure that you sign up for our newsletter updates, because we do have some cool things that are coming down the road here. All right, so with that, I'm going to turn it over in just a moment to Rocky. We will be taking questions at the end, so we're not going to interrupt with questions just so we can get through this. Our format, generally speaking, we're trying to be this roughly on the half hour to be done with this. And so Rocky will have some presentation. If you're on Facebook, you can drop them into the comments area and we'll be watching for your questions. And if you're on Zoom, we have a few people on Zoom here, you can drop them in chat. And by the way, the yellow part down the bottom here, just make a note of that, librarytelescope.org/webinar 50. Just put a webinar 50 at the end of our website name. You'll be able to pull up a guide that he has put, that Rocky's put out there available for us. So it's a little PDF. You can just download that and you can look at this a little bit later. So I'm going to stop sharing. And Rocky, I'm going to turn it over to you and you do your typical magic. And I'm really excited to see what you got tonight for us.
How's that look?
Looks great. Thank you.
Oh, good. So the topic is the summer skies. The summer triangle has always been one of my favorite asterisms. I have an asterism for each season, one for the summer triangle, the fall square of Pegasus, the winter hexagon, and the spring diamond. But I think summer is my favorite. You got warm skies. You got some of the best objects to look at through a telescope or binoculars. You've got the Milky Way. It's just hard to beat. There's and near the as you if you can find some dark skies, the Milky Way really pops, especially near the end of the summer when it's pointed down toward the horizon. So hopefully you can get out this year. The summer triangle is the three brightest stars. I like to watch them when I'm teaching it. I like to watch the stars come out and get people to so they can see the summer triangle without the other stars. And the three stars each is very interesting. Vega is a fifth magnitude star. It's the fifth brightest star, magnitude 0.3. A blue-white star. It's only 25 light years away. Uh, it was the pole star 12,000 years ago, and it's going to be the pole star again in 13,000 years. And it was also the first star photographed back in the 1840s or 1850s, and the first to have its spectrograph read. Deneb is not nearly as bright. It's only mag 1.25, the 19th brightest star, but it's 2,600 light years away. So it's over 100 times farther. And it's also about 100,000 times brighter than our sun. Deneb, we'll talk about, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. Altair, the third star, is the 12th brightest star at mag 0.8, but it's only 16 light years away. And I wanted to talk a little bit just about some definitions. And so I'll be talking about magnitude. When I talk about first magnitude stars, there's about 20 first magnitude stars. There's more than they show here, but those are the ones you can see. And if you learn those stars and let them be your signposts, it's a lot easier to find the constellations. And it's kind of fun to watch them come out and know what they are. But magnitude goes from down to about magnitude 6. And this system was actually invented by Ptolemy, a Roman astronomer, back about 2,000 years ago. And we still use it today. It's been not modified, but made a little more scientific. But we can see down to about magnitude 6 if you've got dark skies. Now I've heard you can see if you've got good eyes and you're out in the desert or someplace, you can see down farther than that. And the stars have colors, and we'll be talking about several that have different colors tonight. But blue are the hottest stars, and red are the coolest stars. And one thing that's interesting is that Yellow stars like our sun might last for tens of billions of years, and a blue star like Spica only might last 10 to 100 million years. The Earth and the Moon are 4.5 billion years old, so let's hope the sun's supposed to have a lot of time left. That's good. Okay, here's a map of the summer triangle. Um, when you learn when you learn those three stars, then you can start tracing out the constellations that go along with them. There's the summer triangle is actually an asterism, where like Cygnus the Swan is a constellation, and the summer triangle is an asterism. Um, but this is the kind of map that's in the little handout that I've got for you if you want to download it. I've got three maps in there: one for the summer triangle, one for the uh, southern ecliptic, and one for the polar region. First constellation talk about is Lyra, and I've already mentioned that Vega is the fifth brightest star, but Lyra is like a lyre or a harp, and it's a lot of constellations don't look like what they really are, but Lyra looks like a lyre or a harp. Beta Lyra is an interesting star. It's an eclipsing variable, and I've got a picture over here of M57, the Ring Nebula, which is very nice through a library telescope. Uh, and that kind of looks like a smoke ring in the sky. So now, if you're taking a picture, a lot of times you can see the central star, and you can see the central star in this picture. There's another globular cluster that's pretty easy in binoculars or a telescope, M56, that's in Lyra. Cygnus the Swan actually looks like a swan with its swept back wings. Um, But the center of the swan is actually an asterism known as the Northern Cross. And you can see why, because it looks like a cross. Deneb, that I talked about earlier, actually means tail. And there's several tails, Denebola and Deneb Katos, and those are that's Arabic for tail. Most of the star names are Arabic, while the constellation names are Latin. Alberio, the hen's beak, is a really pretty through a little library telescope. It's a star that's blue and gold or blue and yellow. It's very nice through any kind of telescope. It's not as you can't really split it too good in binoculars, but telescope you can. The third constellation, with Altair as the main star, is Aquila the Eagle. And Aquila and Cygnus, I'm going to back up a couple of things, but Aquila and Cygnus, this doesn't show the Milky Way, but they're both flying down the Milky Way. The Milky Way goes right through Aquila and Cygnus. So you got these two birds flying down the Milky Way. Altair means flying eagle in itself. And there's I've got a couple of objects here, Messier objects. And I wanted to tell you what a Messier object is. Back about in the 1780s, Charles Messier was a comet, looked for comets, and he discovered quite a few. But he would run across these faint fuzzies that looked like comets with his equipment, and so he'd have to watch them 2 or 3 nights to see if they moved. So he started making a catalog of these objects, and he actually cataloged like the 109, I think, of the some of the best objects in the northern skies. And so now astronomers enjoy looking at these objects and trying to look at all of them, and one of them is M11. It's not in Aquila, but it's, if you can find it by going off the beak of Aquila the Eagle. It almost points right to M11 and then on to M26. M11, somebody, when they saw it, they said it looks like a bunch of wild ducks flying. So that's stuck, and it's known as the wild duck cluster. And M26 is a globular cluster. And there's a couple of constellations. Let me go back to the main chart. They're kind of between Cygnus and Aquila, and then there's Delphinus down here, but they've got some interesting objects too, and they're cute. I've had a lot of people, they always recognize Delphinus because it's such a cute little constellation. It doesn't have any interesting objects in it, but Sagitta, the arrow, has M27 is actually in Vulpecula, but you find it by using Sagitta. So that's the Dumbbell Nebula, and you can see it through the library telescope. It's not going to look like this. Photographs always look better than what you see unless you've really got a big telescope. But it's still a lot of fun to find them in small telescopes and see what they're made of, see what they look like. Another nice object, and this is an asterism, is the coat hanger, and that's right off of the wing of Altair is how I find it. Come down off of Aquila the Eagle and find it here in this area, and it's real easy to find in binoculars. And it actually looks best in binoculars. Between between Vega and Boötes is Hercules. And Hercules in a really bright constellation. It's got a nice asterism here to find, and that's the keystone of Hercules. And what a keystone is it's the stone in a Roman arch. It's the center stone in the Roman arch that made the arch possible. And it's got an outstanding object in it. M13 is one of the best globular clusters in the northern skies. And it's got 300 to 500,000 stars in it, all bunched together. And it's pretty easy to find. You find the keystone, then you can see it's right in the line with the two of the stars of the keystone. There's another nice globular. It's not as big as M13, but M92. Ras Al Ghedi is a interesting star. It's a double star. It's kind of it might be beyond the reach of the library telescope. I shouldn't have mentioned it. Then another area of the sky, of course, is the northern sky. And we always try to teach kids how to find the North Star, as I'm sure some of y'all have. But in summer, the Big Dipper starts heading down to the horizon. It's kind of on this side. In fall, it's on the bottom. Then in winter, it starts coming up this side. This is in the evening, and it comes around. It's just like a clock. It goes all the way around in about 23 hours and 56 minutes. But of course, you can find the North Star by using the pointer stars of the Big Dipper. And real nice telescope object is Mazar and Alcor. It's a double star. It's actually got 4 stars. It's actually, when you if you can see it, when you look at it naked eye, you can actually see Mazar and Alcor. And it was an ancient Arabian test for eyesight. If you could see Mazar and Alcor, you had good enough eyesight to join the army. And then a couple of galaxies there's some nice galaxies down here, but they're headed down toward the horizon. But M51 and M101 are very nice, and you can see those through your library telescope. And here is Mazar and Alcor. And I forgot to mention that Mazar is a real close double star, but it's nice, and you can see it in the library telescope. And you can see the 4 star. It'd be 2 stars here, and this. The photograph didn't split it, so photograph will bring in more light, but it won't give you as good a unless you've got a high-powered telescope. It won't split double stars as good. The double stars kind of have to be wider apart. But you can see it through a library telescope. It's nice double. And then here's the M51. It's 2 galaxies interacting with each other, and probably one galaxy is probably pulling stars out of the other galaxy. And then the pinwheel galaxy, that's a nice galaxy. So that's the northern sky. So one of the prettiest parts of summer is the southern sky, and you've got in the south, you've got the 2 zodiac constellations, Scorpius and Sagittarius. And Sagittarius actually looks more like a teapot. It's actually supposed to be a centaur shooting a bow. Of course, Scorpion is actually a scorpion, and it's the supposedly the scorpion that killed Orion, and that's why when the scorpion comes up, Orion goes down. So that's and that's really what happens is as Orion is setting, the scorpion comes up. Antares is the bright star in Scorpius, and it's a red supergiant, 550 light years away, and it's a variable star going from 0.6 to 1.6, but it doesn't. I haven't seen it get down that low. It's usually more than the 1.6. That's about 550 light years away, and it's red. And if you catch Mars near it, when Mars is about the same brightness, they're very much the same color. The center of our galaxy, you can see the Milky Way here, and the teapot it's kind of like the teapot has steam coming out of its spout, but also this is the center of the Milky Way in this area. And you can, under the ecliptic line right here, you can see one of the objects that I'll show you now. That's one of the ones on my list for my scavenger hunt. If you want to do a scavenger hunt of the skies. Okay, this is one of the charts that's in your handout, and it's got both Scorpius and Sagittarius. It's also got another zodiac constellation that you don't hear much about. It's Ophiuchus, and Ophiuchus is the serpent handler, and he actually has a serpent's head and the serpent's tail kind of going through, and it used to kind of go through it, but they separated it into 2 constellations. I have another note here. Oh, so Scorpius is only the sun is only 7 days in Scorpius. It's 18 days in Ophiuchus and 32 days in Sagittarius. So you might be a Scorpius, but the sun might have actually been in Ophiuchus when you were born if you're a Scorpius. Or maybe Sagittarius. Sagittarius is one of the longest constellations that the sun stays in. Some objects that are okay on the Scorpion this is the Stinger. Shala is a very bright star. It's like the 19th or 20th brightest star. And it's got another star that's bright next to it. But right out from it is M6 and M7. And those are actually naked eye clusters if you're in dark skies. And they're pretty spectacular through binoculars. And they're on my list. M4 is on the list. And it's easy to find. Right next to Antares. M8 and M20 are the two that I pointed out a second ago next to the ecliptic, above the spout. And then M22 is another one that I've got on the list, and it's almost as bright as it may be as bright as M13. It's a very nice globular cluster. And here's M6 is known as the butterfly cluster. M7 is Ptolemy's cluster. And then M4 is a very nice, interesting globular cluster. And these are some more objects there. M8, the Lagoon Nebula, M20, the Trifid, M22, the Globular, and M17, the Omega Nebula. One other quick thing I want to talk about is binoculars. We always, when people ask what kind of telescope should I buy, we usually say buy a good pair of binoculars first. And the first number is the power. The second number is the objective size. And these are some good sizes for binoculars. If you're older, the 8x42 is better. If you're younger, maybe the 7x50. I really like 8x42s. But some things that you want to look for are the field of view being kind of wide. If you get cheap binoculars, that's one thing that's not going to be very wide. Multi-coated and water sealed. And the things about a binoculars are that you've got a right side up image. With a telescope, the image is upside down or reversed. It's way less expensive, easier to learn to use. It's perfect for wide field objects. You walk out the door and not have to set up equipment. And when you're ready for a telescope, you still use binoculars. I use my binoculars all the time when I'm viewing. And these are two different kinds, a Poro prism and a roof prism. And these are the vortex binoculars that the Library Telescope program puts in some. And they're 8x42. And this is Bushnell H2Os, and those are some of my favorites, 8x42s. And this is the checklist that I put in the little handout that Don told you about, along with 3 charts. So I have a lot of fun checking off lists like this, so maybe you can too. That's it, Don.
Okay, that's great. Let's go ahead and stop sharing, I guess, if you could, Rocky, and we'll take some questions here. So, yeah, thanks for explaining the Messier objects. It's kind of interesting. The guy was looking for comets, and he inadvertently made a list that everybody now uses, which wasn't even his intention. But there are some great objects in there. What I love about the summer, and that's kind of how I got started, was in the summer and fall, was really that you are looking at the Milky Way when you're looking at Cygnus the Swan, Aquila the Eagle, and then Sagittarius. It's my wife, by the way, collects teapots, so she's always interested to know that it looks like the little teapot is putting the Milky Way out, which is always kind of fun, right? And I guess in the South, what amazed me is that it seems like there's so much there that you can't even figure out which is which. And it almost drives you crazy because you say, I don't know which Messier that's supposed to be because there's a lot of them right there, right together, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So if we got any questions from the group here, just post them in the chat here. Let's see if I don't see anything quite yet. We have several followers on the Facebook and in our chat. Let's see if we got any chat stuff here coming up here. So I do think that the binoculars are underrated because I believe that the truth is you can find stuff with binoculars that helps you zero in your telescope, right? So in other words, you can see stuff. I say this somewhat, kiddingly, but you can see stuff in the binoculars you can't see in the telescope. And what I mean by that, you get a wider field. You can see a lot of stuff like Pleiades, or you can see all the 7 stars of the Pleiades, but you can't see but maybe a couple stars in a telescope, right?
Yeah, I think with library telescope, when you zoom out, you might be able to see it. But,
Yeah, well, you can see a few stars, but there's still the field of view is
yeah.
pretty much more limited, and it's really much more difficult to kind of get orientated where you are, right? Right.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned this, but the thing that got me confused when I started is that I thought I understood the stars above me tonight, and in 3 months they've changed, right? And
Yeah.
and why is that again?
because of the Earth's going around the sun, and as it moves, it changes the stars every night.
And it's also true, which it took me a while to figure this out. You would think after a while, I'd know all this stuff, is that the stars will go across the sky at night, right? So in other words, you think you
Yeah.
got to the 9 o'clock, but it'll start moving across the sky. And anyway, what about that part of it? Why is
Yeah,
that?
one of the requirements of the Boy Scout merit badge used to be that you sketch the Big Dipper in the evening, then you come out 6 hours later and sketch where it is 6 hours later, and it'll be a fourth of the way around the sky. And the sky makes a total rotation in one day.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
and if you don't really realize that, you'll be looking for something that this star chart says should be up there because you said it says that most of them are set, what, about 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in the
Most,
summertime, it doesn't even get dark till after 9 o'clock.
yeah, right. So what you got to be do is really careful there. So,
One thing I forgot to talk about the summer triangle. The summer triangles you can start seeing it about June the 15th, completely over the horizon at dark, and you can still see it on January 1st, completely over the horizon
oh
in the
wow.
west. So it's up all and as after the summer solstice, of course, it gets darker 4 minutes earlier every night, and so it seems like it almost stays in the same place for a long time.
So I understand, you might correct me on this. So if I get up in the morning, what am I going to see? Do I see next
Uh,
season's constellations pretty much? Is that true?
well, it'll be probably the constellations of fall.
Yeah. So once we get into summer, you'll be looking at the fall const. If you're really like anxious to see something, right? You can get up early in the
Yeah,
morning.
to get up early in the morning.
Yeah, that's
I
kind of
do that.
good. So this is like so confusing. This was so confusing to me that everything keeps changing all the time. And the only thing that really also the other thing that changes a lot, which is also the planets, right? So they change a lot too. And so are the planets always about the same place compared to the stars?
No, they move continuously, and right now, I think Mars is up right now, but the rest of them are in the morning sky or behind
Yeah.
the sun.
I think that at the very moment, I think Jupiter is starting to set pretty much in the evening, but in Mars is up. And of course, Mars in a library telescope is not going to be particularly great, right? It's going to be kind of like an orange
Yeah.
dot. But if you can get Jupiter, you can see those Galilean moons, which is really kind of cool too. So I think I want to wrap it up here, but I think that one caution we should have for the folks is that the library telescope is not a toy. It's 4.5 inches, and that's way more than Galileo had, right? I mean, like way bigger, but it's still not going to be the Hubble, right? So they're not going to see the spectacular rings and detail of Saturn, even though right now it's on the edge, you can't see them anyway because it's just the way they're pointed. And you're not going to see some really amazing blasted, but if you get some dark skies, it's still going to be pretty darn impressive if you look at the right spot. And they are there, right? Well, I really didn't realize that things are in the sky, even in the city, the urban areas, if I just know where to look. And that's the library telescope and binoculars will help you do that, right?
Yeah. Nowadays, the smart telescopes, you can even take pictures of things in the city and
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
see
that's
things in the
great.
city.
Right, right. And I think the one thing that you didn't talk too much about and that wasn't expected of you is that there's a lot of good apps out there that help you find things in the sky. And so most of them are free or a lot of them are free, like I think Starview Light or something like that, maybe Stellarium Light, whatever else. But so you can use those as well because the sky does change. But I actually like to start with a printed thing because I can actually move it around a little bit and kind of figure out where things are and use that as a reference point just because it helps me a little bit. So. All right, let me check if there's any other questions here from our group here. And I appreciate you talking with us tonight. This webinar will be placed on our website homepage sometime tomorrow. And it already is on Facebook, of course. And we'll put that as the number 50th. And you can go to librarytelescope.org/ and just type in webinar 50. And you can pull up that little checklist that you just showed us. And it should work. If not, let me know through the Facebook page. Zero. I tested a little bit earlier and it should work. So, okay. Rocky, thanks for your time tonight, and thanks for all of you that joined us. And we don't know our topic next month, but hang around and we'll figure out something. Lots of great videos out there. Appreciate you helping us out tonight. Thanks again.
Thank you.